Today, we are going to explore 6 things that an intelligent person never says. This is not about censorship or suppressing your thoughts. It's about elevating your communication, refining your mindset, and ultimately becoming the best version of yourself. Years ago, I met a young man named Marcus. Marcus was brilliant, top of his class, quick-witted, and always ready with an answer. But Marcus had a problem. He couldn't keep a job, couldn't maintain relationships, and was constantly in conflict with those around him. One day, I had the opportunity to observe Marcus in a work meeting. That's when it hit me. Marcus was using his intelligence as a weapon. Every time someone spoke, he was quick to point out flaws in their reasoning. He'd say things like, "That's a stupid idea," or "Anyone with half a brain would know that won't work." Marcus thought he was showcasing his intelligence. In reality, he was showcasing his immaturity and lack of emotional intelligence. My friends, intelligence is not just about being right. It's about being effective. It's about using your knowledge and skills to lift others up, not tear them down. It's about understanding that sometimes the most intelligent thing you can do is to listen, to empathize, to seek understanding before being understood. This brings us to our first point. An intelligent person never says, "That's stupid." Now you might be thinking, but what if something really is stupid? Shouldn't we call it out? In life, you will encounter ideas that seem foolish, plans that appear flawed, and people who might not be operating at your level of understanding. But the moment you label something as stupid, you have closed the door to understanding. You have shut down the possibility of growth, both for yourself and for others. Instead of saying, "That's stupid," an intelligent person might say, "I'm not sure I understand. Could you explain that further? Or I have a different perspective on this. May I share it?" Do you see the difference? The first approach shuts down communication. The second opens it up. The first approach positions you as superior. The second positions you as a collaborator, a learner, someone who values the input of others. This does not mean you have to agree with everything you hear, but it does mean approaching every interaction with respect, curiosity, and the humility to recognize that you don't know everything. A CEO I once worked with, Alina, was known for her brilliant strategic mind. But what set her apart wasn't just her intelligence, it was how she used it. In one particularly tense board meeting, a junior member proposed a strategy that, on the surface, seemed naive and unworkable. The room fell silent, everyone expecting Alina to shut down the idea. But Alina didn't say, "That's stupid." Instead, she leaned forward and said, "That's an interesting approach. Walk us through your thinking." What happened next was remarkable. As the junior member explained his reasoning, it became clear that while the overall strategy wasn't viable, there were elements of brilliant insight in his thinking. Alina's approach not only saved this young man from embarrassment, but also led to a breakthrough that the company later patented. That, my friends, is the power of intelligent communication. It's not about being the smartest person in the room. It's about creating an environment where intelligence can flourish, where ideas can be shared without fear, and where collective wisdom can emerge. Let's move on to our second point. An intelligent person never says, "I know everything about this." The moment you claim to know everything about a subject is the moment you stop learning. And let me tell you something profound. The day you stop learning is the day you start dying intellectually, professionally, and personally. True intelligence is marked by a constant thirst for knowledge, a perpetual state of curiosity. The most brilliant minds in history, Einstein, Newton, Curie, were all characterized by their insatiable curiosity and their willingness to admit what they didn't know. Einstein once said, "The more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know." This, my friends, is the paradox of knowledge. The more you learn, the more you understand how vast the ocean of knowledge truly is. Instead of saying, I know everything about this, an intelligent person might say, I have experience in this area, but I'm always eager to learn more. What's your perspective? This approach not only demonstrates humility, but also opens the door to new insights and collaborative learning. I remember a conference I attended where a renowned expert was speaking on leadership. During the QA session, someone asked a question that clearly caught the speaker off guard. Instead of fumbling for an answer or dismissing the question, the speaker did something remarkable. He said, "That's a fascinating question. And to be honest, that's not something I've considered before. I don't have an answer right now, but I'd love to research it and get back to you. Does anyone in the audience have insights on this?" What followed was one of the most engaging discussions I've ever witnessed at a conference. By admitting he didn't know everything, this expert created a space for collective learning and discovery. He transformed what could have been a moment of embarrassment into an opportunity for growth, for himself and for everyone in the room. This brings us to an important truth. Intelligence is not about having all the answers. It's about knowing how to find answers, how to learn, and how to collaborate with others in the pursuit of knowledge. Moving on to our third point. An intelligent person never says, "It's not my fault." Accountability is a cornerstone of intelligence. It's easy to take credit when things go well, but true intelligence and true leadership is demonstrated in how we handle failures and setbacks. When something goes wrong, the natural human instinct is to deflect blame, to find excuses, to point fingers. But this reaction, while natural, is not intelligent. It's a sign of insecurity, of a fixed mindset that fears failure instead of embracing it as a learning opportunity. Instead of saying, "It's not my fault," an intelligent person might say, "I take responsibility for my part in this. Let's analyze what went wrong and how we can improve." This shift in language represents a profound shift in mindset. It moves us from a place of defensiveness to a place of growth. It transforms failures from sources of shame into sources of valuable data that we can use to refine our approach and improve our outcomes. Early in my career, I was part of a team working on a crucial project. We had a tight deadline, and everyone was under immense pressure. As the deadline approached, it became clear that we were going to miss it. In our final team meeting before the deadline, tensions were high. People were pointing fingers, making excuses, saying things like, "It's not my fault. I did my part." In the midst of this chaos, our team leader stood up. We all fell silent, expecting her to join in the blame or to reprimand us. Instead, she said something I'll never forget. "As the leader of this team, I take full responsibility for our failure to meet the deadline. Now let's break down what went wrong, learn from it, and make a plan to move forward." Her words transformed the energy in the room. Suddenly, instead of a group of individuals desperately trying to avoid blame, we became a unified team focused on solution finding. We worked through the night, identified our mistakes, and not only completed the project, but also developed a new project management system that the company still uses today. That experience taught me a valuable lesson. Taking responsibility is not about accepting blame. It's about claiming the power to make changes and improvements. When you say, "It's not my fault," you are essentially saying, "I'm powerless in this situation." But when you take responsibility, you are saying, "I have the power to learn from this and to do better next time." This mindset is crucial not just in our professional lives, but in our personal relationships as well. How many arguments could be avoided? How many relationships could be strengthened if we approach conflicts with a mindset of shared responsibility and a focus on solutions rather than blame? Fourth point, an intelligent person never says, "I don't need anyone's help." Independence is often celebrated in our society. We admire the self-made individual, the lone wolf who succeeds against all odds. But here's a truth that might be hard to swallow. There's no such thing as a truly self-made person. Every successful individual stands on the shoulders of others. Every breakthrough is built on the foundation of previous discoveries. Every personal triumph is supported by a network of relationships, whether we recognize it or not. Intelligent people understand this fundamental truth. They recognize that seeking help is not of weakness, it's a sign of wisdom. It's an acknowledgement of the complexity of life and the value of diverse perspectives. Instead of saying, I don't need anyone's help, an intelligent person might say, I value input from others who can offer insights on this. This approach not only leads to better outcomes, but also fosters a culture of collaboration and mutual support. A brilliant entrepreneur I once mentored, Alex, had a groundbreaking idea for a tech startup. He was a coding genius and had a clear vision for his product. But when it came to business strategy, marketing, and financial planning, Alex was out of his depth. Initially, Alex resisted seeking help. He'd say things like, I can figure this out on my own. I don't need anyone else. As a result, his startup struggled. The product was excellent, but no one knew about it. The business was bleeding money because of poor financial planning. It wasn't until Alex was on the brink of bankruptcy that he finally admitted he needed help. He reached out to mentors, hired a CFO, and built a diverse team with complementary skills. The transformation was remarkable. Within a year, Alex's company had secured major funding and was on its way to becoming a major player in the industry. Intelligence is not about knowing everything or being able to do everything yourself. It's about knowing when and how to leverage the strengths of others. It's about building a network of relationships and creating synergies that allow for achievements far beyond what any individual could accomplish alone. This principle applies not just in business, but in every aspect of life, in our personal relationships, in our spiritual journeys, in our pursuit of health and wellness. We all need the support and insights of others to truly thrive. The most successful people you know, I guarantee you, they didn't get there alone. They had mentors, supporters, team members who complemented their strengths and shored up their weaknesses. They had the wisdom to know when to lead and when to follow, when to speak and when to listen. Recognizing the need for help and actually asking for it are two different things. Many of us struggle with the latter. We fear being seen as incompetent or weak. We worry about burdening others or becoming indebted to them. Most people are happy to help when asked. In fact, studies have shown that asking someone for help actually makes them like you more. It's called the Ben Franklin effect. By allowing someone to help you, you are giving them an opportunity to feel good about themselves, to exercise their own skills and knowledge. So, my friends, I challenge you to embrace the power of collaboration. Seek out mentors. Build a diverse network of relationships. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. And equally important, be generous in offering your help to others. Because in the dance of giving and receiving help, we all grow, we all learn, and we all become more than we could ever be on our own. Our fifth point. An intelligent person never says, that's impossible. The word impossible is a dangerous one. It's a word that has held back progress, stifled innovation, and crushed dreams throughout history. And yet, time and time again, we have seen the impossible become possible through human ingenuity, perseverance, and a refusal to accept limitations. There was a time when human flight was considered impossible. Space travel was impossible. Instant global communication was impossible. And yet, here we are, living in a world where all these impossibilities are now everyday realities. Intelligent people understand that impossible is often just a limitation of current thinking or technology. They approach challenges not with a mindset of can this be done, but rather how can this be done? Instead of saying that's impossible, an intelligent person might say, that's a significant challenge. Let's break it down and see what solutions we can come up with. This shift in language represents a fundamental shift in approach from defeatism to problem solving, from limitation to possibility. a young engineer I had the privilege of working with a few years ago. Maria was part of a team tasked with developing a new type of prosthetic limb, one that could be controlled by the user's thoughts. Many on the team were skeptical. Some even said it was impossible with current technology. But Maria refused to accept that. Instead of saying it's impossible, she said, we haven't figured out how to do it yet. That simple shift in perspective changed everything. It turned a dead end into a challenge, a wall into a hurdle to be overcome. Maria and her team spent months researching, experimenting, failing, and trying again. They collaborated with neuroscientists, computer programmers, and even patients who had lost limbs. And you know what? After 2 years of relentless effort, they did it. They created a prototype that could respond to neural signals, allowing users to control the prosthetic limb with their thoughts. That breakthrough has since revolutionized the field of prosthetics, improving the lives of countless individuals. And it all started because one person refused to accept the word impossible. I'm not saying that anything is possible if you just believe hard enough. That's magical thinking, not intelligent thinking. What I am saying is that the boundaries of what's possible are constantly expanding, and often the only way to discover where those boundaries lie is to push against them with all your might. Intelligent people understand this. They approach problems with a combination of optimism and realism. They are willing to challenge assumptions, to think outside the box, to persevere in the face of setbacks. They understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It's a stepping stone on the path to success. This mindset is not just valuable in scientific or technological pursuits. It's crucial in every aspect of life. In your personal growth, in your relationships, in your career, there will always be challenges that seem insurmountable at first glance. The intelligent approach is not to be daunted by these challenges, but to face them head on, to break them down into manageable parts, and to persistently work towards solutions. Every great achievement in human history started as an impossible dream. The abolition of slavery, the civil rights movement, the eradication of smallpox, all these were once considered impossible, but they became reality because people refused to accept that label. I urge you to banish the word impossible from your vocabulary. Replace it with phrases like it's challenging. But let's figure it out. Or we haven't found a way yet, but we will. Embrace the mindset of possibility, of problem solving, of relentless pursuit of solutions. You don't have to have all the answers yourself. Remember our previous point about the importance of collaboration. This is where it becomes especially relevant. When faced with a seemingly impossible challenge, don't be afraid to seek help, to collaborate, to bring together diverse minds and perspectives. Often, the solution to an impossible problem comes not from a single brilliant insight, but from the combination of multiple perspectives, from the synthesis of different fields of knowledge. This is why diversity in teams is so crucial, because each person brings a unique set of experiences, knowledge, and ways of thinking to the table. Sixth and final point. An intelligent person never says, I don't have time for this. Time is our most precious resource. It's the one thing we can never get more of, no matter how wealthy or powerful we become. And yet, how often do we squander it? How often do we use the excuse, I don't have time, to avoid things that are important, challenging? Intelligent people understand that saying, I don't have time is often just a polite way of saying this is not a priority for me. And they recognize that our priorities reveal our values and shape our lives. Instead of saying, I don't have time for this, an intelligent person might say, this is not a priority for me right now, or I need to reassess my priorities to make time for this. This shift in language is powerful because it puts us back in control. It reminds us that we are the masters of our time, not its victims. We may not be able to create more time, but we absolutely can choose how we allocate the time we have. Years ago, I was overwhelmed with work. I was constantly rushing from one meeting to another, answering emails late into the night, and neglecting my health and relationships. I kept telling myself and others, I don't have time for exercise. I don't have time to read. I don't have time for family dinners. One day I had a wake-up call. My daughter asked me to attend her school play. And without thinking, I blurted out, I don't have time. The look of disappointment on her face shook me to my core. That's when I realized I wasn't just saying I don't have time. I was saying you are not a priority. That moment forced me to reassess everything. I took a hard look at how I was spending my time, realized that much of it was being wasted on low-value activities. I was saying yes to every request, trying to please everyone. And in the process, neglecting the things that truly mattered. I decided to make a change. I started by tracking my time for a week, noting down everything I did in 30-minute increments. The results were eye-opening. I was spending hours each day on activities that didn't align with my core values or long-term goals. Armed with this knowledge, I began to ruthlessly prioritize. I learned to say no to non-essential commitments. I delegated tasks that others could handle. I blocked out time for important non-urgent activities like exercise, reading, and family time. The transformation was remarkable. Not only did I find time for my daughter's school plays, but I also became more productive at work. By focusing on high-value activities and eliminating time wasters, I accomplished more in less time. I felt more fulfilled. By aligning my use of time with my values and priorities, I felt a sense of purpose and satisfaction that had been missing before. Time management is really life management. How we spend our time is how we spend our lives. When we say, I don't have time, we are really saying, I choose not to make time. Intelligent people understand this. They recognize that time is a choice. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. What sets people apart is how they choose to use those hours. I'm not saying it's easy. We live in a world of constant demands and distractions. Technology has blurred the lines between work and personal time. Social media and entertainment options compete for our attention. It's more challenging than ever to manage our time effectively. But that's precisely why it's more important than ever to be intentional about how we use our time. It requires conscious effort. Sometimes difficult choices. It means learning to say no, even to good opportunities, so we can say yes to great ones. It also means recognizing that I don't have time is often a smokescreen for other issues. Sometimes, when we say we don't have time for something, what we really mean is, I'm afraid to try this. I don't know how to do this. I don't see the value in this. I'm overwhelmed and don't know where to start. Intelligent people dig deeper when they find themselves saying, I don't have time. They ask themselves, what's really holding me back here? Is it truly a lack of time? Or is it something else? This level of self-awareness is crucial. It allows us to address the real issues rather than hiding behind the excuse of time. Moreover, intelligent people understand that time is not just about productivity. It's about balance. It's about making time for work, yes, but also for rest, for relationships, for personal growth, for joy. They recognize that time spent in reflection, in nature, in deep conversation with loved ones, or in pursuing a hobby is not wasted time. It's investment time. It recharges us, inspires us, and ultimately makes us more effective in all areas of our lives. Fulfilled people, you know. I bet they are not the ones who are constantly rushing, constantly busy, constantly saying, I don't have time. They are the ones who seem to have time for what's important. They are present in their interactions. They have hobbies and interests outside of work. They make time for learning and growth. These people are not magicians. They don't have more hours in their day than the rest of us. What they have is a clear sense of priorities and a discipline to them. I challenge you to banish the phrase, I don't have time from your vocabulary. Instead, try saying, that's not a priority for me right now. You will find a simple shift in language forces you to be honest with yourself and others about your choices. Don't say, I'll find time for it. Say, I'll make time for it. Because that's what it comes down to. making time for what matters. At the end of our lives, we won't wish we'd spend more time at the office or scrolling through social media. We will wish we'd spend more time with loved ones, pursuing our passions, making a difference in the world. How we use the precious gift of time. Let's be intentional. Let's be balanced. Let's be true to our values and priorities. Intelligence is not just about what we know. It's about how we think, how we communicate, how we relate to others, and how we navigate the complexities of life. By avoiding phrases like, "that's stupid," "I know everything about this, it's not my fault," "I don't need anyone's help," "that's impossible," and "I don't have time for this," we open ourselves up to a world of possibilities. We create space for learning, for collaboration, for innovation, for growth. We become not just smarter, but wiser. We become not just successful, but fulfilled. We become the kind of people who lift others up, who solve problems, who make a real difference in the world. Starting today. To be mindful of your words, to catch yourself when you're about to use one of these phrases, and to choose a more intelligent alternative, to approach life with curiosity, responsibility, openness to help, a belief in possibility and intentionality about your time. Remember, your words shape your thoughts shape your actions, and your actions shape your life. Choose wisely, my friends. Choose intelligence. Choose growth. Choose to be the best version of yourself. Carry with you not just these lessons, but the understanding that true intelligence is a lifelong journey. It's not about reaching a destination, but about constantly evolving, constantly learning, constantly striving to be better. You have within you the power to shape your mind, to refine your communication, to elevate your interactions, and to create a life of purpose and fulfillment. Use that power wisely. Use it to make a positive impact on your life and the lives of those around you. Thank you for your attention, your engagement, and your commitment to growth. Now go forth. Speak with intention, act with wisdom, and live with purpose.